4 people killed, 3 more fighting for life this morning. Laura Moran witnessed the incident unfold from the Broadwater Parklands, and she joins us now. Laura, good morning to you, and I'm sorry we're meeting in these circumstances. It's almost hard to comprehend. Can you take us back to what you saw yesterday?
Yeah, we arrived, my family and I, and my sister and her kids arrived yesterday at the Parklands about an hour before the incident happened. And we were sitting in the rock pools opposite sort of the SEAWORLD marina. And we'd actually just sat down to have a bite to eat. And there was obviously a number of families around. It's the school holidays. And we were sitting on an angle where the marina was right next to me. I was actually just taking photos of my son, like only a few moments earlier, facing that direction. And I actually honestly thought, because we see the choppers flying around, like you kind of, it's just there. There's boats in the marina, there's all that sort of stuff. So it wasn't really a sight, like, you know, unusual sight to see the helicopters flying. And the noise was, I've never heard anything like it. It was like a really, it wasn't a bang. It was like this whoosh that was like almost like metal hit, like it was metal hitting metal, I guess. But it was, it sort of sent this wave through the Parklands, and the entire Parklands went silent, and everyone just sort of looked up in shock. And at first I thought because it was quite low, I thought it was jet boats going off the waves. And we kind of just looked at it, like even the kids had stopped talking. Everyone had stopped in the Parklands, and it was eerily quiet. And then you heard the thud. And then I think that's when I turned to my sister and I said, was that a jet? What was that? And the lady, there was a family next to us, and she went, oh my God, that was helicopters. Like the helicopters have just hit each other. And we all kind of just, like, it was, the whole park stopped. And we all just sort of stood in silence for a moment, and then this sort of gasp went over the crowd. And then we all sort of ran towards the waterfront and just watched in, like, just one, disbelief, but two, I suppose, like a horror, because we're kind of going, what do we do? You know, we're too far away to jump in and help anyone. But like I even said, there was the man next to me, I said, do we call an ambulance? Like, what do we do? And he goes, oh, surely someone over there would call. And I said, what if they're in shock? Like, what do we do? And so we're kind of all just standing there in a bit of panic. And then we saw the jet skis going up. Like, it was quite, like, amazing watching the people in the marina just, like, flooding to help. Jet skis flying and boats flying, and you could see people running across the water and into the water. We initially thought that the helicopter that had fallen had fallen in the water. Yeah. And so it's quite, like, it's awful to think now, knowing what had happened. But yeah, so we thought they'd hit the water, and our first instinct, the lady and I next to each other, I said, oh, well, if they've hit the water, maybe, like, it's a softer impact, like maybe they'll be okay. And then someone said, no, there's a sandbar there. You can see the other helicopter landing. And we went, oh, well then, like, hopefully there's no kids on board. Like, who's on board? Like, are they okay? Like, how many people are there? And then as it kind of progressed on, because we stayed for quite a number of hours to watch the rescue efforts, we almost had this, like, weird, like, it's sort of a weird thing to say, but we were kind of waiting for a moment of someone to turn around and go thumbs up, like, we're all good, like, everyone's fine. Or, like, you know, cheers, like, everyone had come out okay. But obviously, as we sat there for a number of hours, we unfortunately saw, like, you know, them setting up tarps and watching people come, and, you know, you could hear the sirens arriving. And but yeah, it was just, it felt like a movie, like, just everything stopped. Well, everyone went silent. Like, all you could hear behind us was the rock pools. Yeah. Even the kids stopped, which is so unusual for children to just stop. Yeah.
Well, Laura, so, police have praised the efforts of those that were watching on and those that rushed to the support. And look, we hope you hugged your kids last night, and we really appreciate coming on and sharing that experience with us this morning.
Thank you.